has become a huge problem in the world. There's a book called Why Do I Still Have Thyroid Symptoms When My Tests Come Back Normal by an East Indian doctor. He's got a big long name, and in there he talks about gluten, and you have to have a whole lot of strong stomach acid to break down the gluten molecule into the amino acids. If it goes down into your intestines as a gluten molecule instead of the amino acids, it irritates the intestinal flora in the small intestine, the little cilia, and cause them inflammation down in your intestines. And inflammation in your intestines radiates out throughout your whole body, your joints, and everything else. And it does it long enough, it starts to break those little fingers off the little cilia, and then the walls break down, and little particles of food will get into the bloodstream, called leaky gut syndrome. When the leaky gut happens, little particles of food will get into your bloodstream, and your body builds up antibodies to it. It looks like a foreign invader. Well, if you get a gluten molecule into your bloodstream, it builds up antibodies to it and fights it and kills it, but there's one thing in your body that looks just like the gluten molecules, your thyroid cells. So it attacks the thyroid cells. And that's why everybody's hypo or hyper, depending on what they've ate, and the doctors can't figure it out. They just put everybody on Synthroid. Half of America's on Synthroid because of that problem. Well, there's a number of things that have happened. You know, we got these GMO, these genetic modified grains that, you know, most countries of the world won't import our grain or our beef, and it's because of that. And these grains are sterile, they won't reproduce each other, and they're resistant to the bugs that eat them and stuff because they've put things into the grains. But the bigger problem happened in 1984 when Fleischmann's came out with some fast rising yeast. Before that, when they had the long rising yeast and you let the dough sit for 12 hours, 24 hours, the yeast had enough time to break down the gluten molecules so that our body could absorb it and digest it. No problem. And today, even celiacs, if you get a good strong sourdough and let it rise for 12, 24 hours, they can eat it. But you always got to be careful and work with your doctor on this. That was just to cover my butt. Anyway, do everything wisely, a little bit at a time. Try stuff out. But that's a huge problem, and overeating is another problem. See, young kids don't have a lot of problems. They get this stomach acid that's like battery acid. I mean, they can digest everything. But if they overeat too much and they don't have enough stomach acid to break it down, then they can't break down the gluten either, and it goes into their intestines, does the same thing. And when we overeat, overeating is one of the worst things you can do for your body, and America is huge at overeating. 70% of America is overweight, 30% are obese, and it's because of, they overeat. And then your body, stomach acid and enzymes, there's not enough to do the job, and you put all this stuff down in there and it's not been digested, and we got big problems because 70% of your immune system is in your intestinal flora. And it's all screwed up because of what we've been doing to ourselves, and it's our choice and our ignorance that has caused that. Well, somebody else, also asked me, well, I've heard that wheat is supposed to be really good for man. Wheat is to be the staff of life. Well, for the LDS in the Doctrine and Covenants, the 89th section, it says, grains are to be the staff of life for men and beasts. Nevertheless, wheat for man, corn for the ox, oats for the horse. Well, in the old days, Adam, Abraham, and Moses, what did they use a staff for? To lean on from time to time, and protect themselves in times of danger, not support their whole body weight on it. If you do that and make that the major part of your diet, it'll do just what it does to cattle. You want cattle fat to get them to market weight faster and make more money? Grain feed them. Does the same thing to us. It's very powerful. And again, with those other problems that we have. So it should be a little part of your meal, not the main part. It's to be leaned on. So everything's supposed to be done with balance and moderation. Just eat small, sparingly, And that's in another section there. And we can go into another talk on that another time.
Mention the allergy aspect of the food particles in the blood.
Oh, when your body builds up antibodies to those little particles that get in through the leaky gut, then you get allergies to those foods that it build up the antibodies to. That's how you get the food allergies. It's from that leaky gut problem. And you can get rid of it. You get your intestines healed up,